Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Southwest Affiliate Stroke Bootcamp series. We are excited to offer this 15-week course as a way to educate stroke coordinators in key components of their role, provide tools and resources to build and maintain successful programs, and to assist in building a large network of peers. Before we get started, we would like to go over a few housekeeping items. To avoid background noise, all lines have been placed on mute. For the question portion at the end of the presentation, you may unmute your line by pressing *6 or typing in the Q&A section of WebEx. Please note you will only be able to claim your CE credits at the end of the 15-week series on September 27th. A copy of today's slides and any handouts will be sent to you within a week of today's call, and for future webinar registrations, please visit www.heart.org/SWA quality. Today we have a great speaker who will be discussing stroke survivors and caregivers support group. Carly Rossi started working at St. Anthony Hospital in 2013 as a social work case manager on the neuro floor. After submitting a proposal for a new stroke navigation role, Carly and the St. Anthony Hospital stroke team started a pilot for this position, which was approved and officially adopted into the neurosciences program in 2017. Experiencing stroke through the eyes of the support group and its members has helped to shape her clinical practice. Her hope for the presentation is for participants to walk away with a new sense of awe and hope for stroke recovery in the survivors and caregivers we work with every day. And now I will hand it over to you, Carly.
Thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Perfect. Well, my name is Carly. I'm a licensed clinical social worker here in Colorado, and I first just want to start by saying how much I've really enjoyed listening in each week to all the different presentations, and I appreciate the opportunity to speak with you guys today. I have no relevant financial disclosures or non-financial disclosures to report. Today we will be reviewing support groups versus group therapy, starting a support group 101, where I'll go over facilitation, duration, location, setup, environment. I'm going to talk a little bit about group curriculum, presentation, activity ideas, how to grow your group, and a couple closing thoughts. But before I start, I wanted to do a poll. So I have a couple polling questions that I think Audrey's going to pop up. So first, does your facility currently offer a stroke survivor group or caregiver group or a combination thereof? And second, do you personally facilitate or participate in either a stroke survivor group, caregiver group, or combination? And I can't see the polling questions. Audrey, are those coming up?
Yes, you should be able to see it now. I can just give you the results.
Sounds good.
So for yes, we have 25 out of 78 answer, and no, we had 19 out of 78 answered, and then the rest did not answer.
Okay, great. So for many of you, this might be review, and hopefully you can get some new ideas to take back to your group. And for others of you, this might be your first opportunity or step into considering starting a group. And so hopefully at the end, you'll have some questions, and you're going to feel that much more confident in beginning your own group. I want to start by differentiating between two kinds of groups, a support group and group therapy. This will be important to understand when you begin to set up and prepare for your support group and when you make recommendations to your patients about attending a group. I want to discuss some common themes or similarities between the two groups, which can sometimes make the differences between the groups more confusing. Both groups provide support, and members attend because they all have something in common for which they can learn from one another. A key difference between the group is the role of the facilitator. In group therapy, the facilitator is likely a licensed therapist. He or she will function as a therapist, directly leading the group, and will utilize different psychotherapeutic interventions similar to individual therapy. A support group facilitator functions as a guide for communication, sometimes referred to as a guide from the side approach. The facilitator functions like a referee, ensuring that everyone gets a chance to speak and that members are sharing their thoughts with one another, but not counseling one another. By doing this, the facilitator is creating a safe environment for all to participate. The support group leader will pay attention to the conversation while it's evolving, underlining or highlighting themes to support different aspects of the discussion and to encourage member interaction. Typically, the support group is an open group, meaning members can join at any point and attendance is quite fluid. This can mean that your group size might fluctuate from meeting to meeting, which can make it a bit more difficult to prepare for in advance and tends to be a little less structured than group therapy. Group therapy is highly structured and requires a committed attendance that is fixed, and it is a closed group to new members. Group therapy is didactic in nature, addressing issues on deeper levels. It has a specific goal or outcome in mind, where on the other hand, support groups are less structured with no curriculum per se, but instead the group is guided by various topics. Guest speakers may be brought in for presentations, and content and direction may be more fluid based on the members' discussions, again, with the facilitator guiding from the side. The general purpose of a support group is to help identify healthy, effective coping techniques and skills to help mitigate feelings of anxiety, fear, anger, and loss. Support groups also provide a wonderful support network of people going through similar experiences and feelings. Members can share openly without hesitation that no one will understand them or their circumstance. And for some people, this may be their only support network or safe place to express what they're going through. The group allows people to be where they are and validates and normalizes what they're feeling. It's a place for encouragement, not only from the facilitator, but from other members. A therapy group also helps with developing coping skills, but in a somewhat different manner. It is focused more on educational, therapeutic, process-oriented skills. It provides a forum for growth and change, and it's solution-focused with specific goals and outcomes in mind. Not everyone wishes to participate in or needs that focused therapy-based experience of group therapy. However, for our stroke survivors and caregiver population, nearly everyone can benefit from a support group. Each type of group offers a unique dynamic, and the key is to finding a group that meets the specific needs of your patient population. For the greater majority of our patients here, likely the purpose for them will be a stroke, likely the purpose for them in the stroke program will be starting a stroke support group and not group therapy. So let's take a little bit closer look now at stroke survivors and caregiver support groups. First, I wanted to provide a few links with some great resources for starting a support group. The American Stroke Association offers several resources, and there are many others online that provide easy-to-follow directions when starting a support group. Creative ideas to boost participation and attendance, but use your best judgment when deciding what suggestions are going to work for your facility. There are countless reasons why starting your own group for support of stroke survivors is a great idea. To name a few, support groups help with the transitional care needs identified before and after discharge. Starting a group can help to influence further program development. Support groups help to paint a bigger picture of life after stroke, not only for patients, but also for your providers. They provide a platform for stroke education, and they create more stroke awareness. Ultimately, support groups help survivors and caregivers thrive and identify as survivors after stroke. Okay, so are you ready to start your group yet? We've covered the difference between a support group versus group therapy. So now I want to go over a few basics when looking to start your group, where to begin. First things first, who's going to lead your group? Meetings are led by support group facilitators. The facilitator's goal is to guide healthy, purposeful discussions that help to address a variety of topics brought forward by the group. Remember, support group facilitators guide from the side, helping to foster conversation by listening intently, asking questions to deepen the conversation or provide clarification, and help to ensure a balance within the group by redirecting, limiting interruptions, and making sure everyone who wants to has a chance to speak. There are different types of facilitation leaders. Leaders can vary. This might be determined by the interests or needs of your member population, or it may be based on the available resources of your stroke program. 3 examples of facilitation provided in the slide is the medical professional, the peer specialist, and the self-help group, where members of the group self-manage the meetings themselves. The picture in this slide is actually my support group, which I co-facilitate with 2 speech therapists and an occupational therapist. And the man in the picture is a survivor who came to present as a peer. Other possible suggestions for facilitators would include the stroke coordinator, a stroke RN or NP, and chaplains. When considering how you are going to facilitate your group, I highly recommend co-facilitation. There are many benefits to co-facilitation, including the distribution of responsibility. It supports diversity and brings different experiences and scopes of practice to the group. It also provides an ability to break up the group when supporting both caregivers and survivors. Other important factors that I want to highlight about co-facilitation is that by having the flexibility and support from multiple leaders, we're better able to take care of ourselves. And self-care is very important when facilitating a support group of any kind. It helps to prevent burnout, to be able to take a sick day or relax while on vacation. We are all dealing with difficult issues, both in the groups and in our programs, so I cannot stress this enough. You do not need to do this alone. Get a few co-facilitators when starting your group. One other benefit that I want to highlight is the safety of your group. Many of our members are living with disabilities that make it difficult for them to get around. Several of your members will likely have durable medical equipment such as a cane, walker, or wheelchair, and this is going to increase the fall risk. So it's important that facilitators have created a safe environment and have extra hands to assist if needed. Next, you will want to consider the frequency of your meetings, the length of time you will need to run an impactful group. Other things to consider will be which day of the week works best for your program. Does a morning group or an afternoon group work better for your schedule or the population you're working with? For example, I run a late afternoon group. It goes from 4 p.m. to 5:30, and something that we had to take into consideration here in Colorado is daylight savings, and how many of our members find it harder to drive as it gets darker earlier in the day. We see this affect our member population between summer and winter, and sometimes members will leave earlier during the winter, and this is something we just had to adjust for. After you've considered your frequency and duration, you will want to consider where the group will be held, and if your location is easily accessible for your members. I also recommend having a backup plan if your location ever needs to change. I cannot stress this enough. The physical location of your group matters. When I first started facilitating my group, I was so excited to be providing this resource that I hadn't really considered how important the environmental details of running a group actually were. And our location had double booked, and we were asked to move the meeting with about a day's notice. My co-facilitators, who had been a part of this group long before I was, told me that we would probably need to cancel that month's group, but I just didn't understand that. So with all my newbie wisdom and excitement, I quickly scheduled another available room towards the back of the hospital, and needless to say, this was a disaster. First of all, we all know the hospital and the maze that exists in the back of the house, which is really difficult to navigate from getting point A to point B. But what I also hadn't stopped to consider were all the details that come together to create a safe and cohesive space for group. From the amount of steps it took for our members to make it from their cars to the rooms, to the accessibility of drinking fountains and bathrooms, all the way down to the setup and how much extra space it takes to maneuver around the room when your members have limited mobility. When planning the location of your group, questions to ask yourself include but are not limited to: is the room easy to get to once members arrive? Are there stairs to navigate, or is there access to an elevator? Is handicap parking available, or perhaps valet is an option? How far are the restrooms, and are they handicap accessible? The setup needs to provide a safe and conducive environment to run your group. Other considerations should include how large of a room do you need? How will you set up the room? Will you only use chairs? Will you need chairs and tables? Will you set up the room in a classroom style or use a round table discussion style where everyone sits around in a large circle? In my group, we set up similar to the top picture here in the shape of a U so that we can facilitate group discussion, but also it provides a space for education and guest speakers to present. We've also found that tables are really useful for members who do have limited mobility or need a little bit more support. Do you need signage to help direct your members to the room? And finally, don't forget to take one last look around every meeting before you start to look for potential hazards that need addressed. Things like cords that need to be taped down or doors that need to be propped open. Just as it is important to consider the setup of your room to create a safe and accessible environment, creating a supportive environment must also be considered. Creating a supportive environment begins with creating group rules. Each group may have different rules that are important to them, and I usually begin by asking for suggestions. In general, rules should ensure confidentiality, respect, and participation. Other rules to establish may be phone policies and expectations of participation. Should members raise their hands or speak out when they have questions? Does your group want to utilize a talking stick to help identify who's got the floor and for how long? Equally important to physical safety is emotional safety. A group facilitator will often use their intuition to guide conversation and provide an emotionally safe environment, but if this is not your area of strength, facilitators can and should learn cues and techniques for reframing, reflection, and de-escalation to guide those conversations. And I think it goes without saying, do not forget the Kleenex. So now I'm going to switch focus and talk about group curriculum. Facilitators need to decide what type of curriculum fits their group best. Will your curriculum focus around various topics or presentations? Or maybe your agenda will be more flexible and open based on your members' needs in the moment. Looser agendas tend to promote an open forum where members will stop by and come and go as needed. Members may be talking in small groups or work on various arts and crafts while they have casual conversations. In this setting, it is still the facilitator's role to walk around and help guide conversation and provide new directions. However, oftentimes this kind of setting is a member or peer facilitated group and therefore self-regulated. I personally recommend a combination of both topic and presentation formats, as well as times for more flexible agendas, perhaps with an identified theme, but letting the group take the conversation where they want it to go. I've listed a few topics or themes in some of the presentations that we've done here at St. Anthony's that might be of an interest to your group. And I also recommend asking around your community and seeing what other resources are out there to bring to your group. For example, we had a trauma PA's wife here at my hospital who came and presented on adaptive yoga, and it was awesome. Our hospital pharmacist is presenting this month. Members do not always need to meet in the classroom. Group outings, though they can take some additional time to plan and prepare for, are a great way to strengthen your group support for one another. For example, every August, my group has an end of the summer barbecue to welcome in the fall. Other ideas might be going to see a play together or a sporting event like Strikeout Stroke. Many of our members make open-ended plans to meet before or after group for dinner. They're very connected, and it's wonderful to see the community that is built by the group in doing this. Other fun ideas that help to build relationships and allow members to get to know one another include holiday parties. Every December, my group does a silly gift exchange, and one of our members leads us in a sing-along with her keyboard. We sound really bad, but it is a lot of fun, and people look forward to this every year. Other ideas may help to challenge the group's creativity or memory, such as playing cognitive games or making arts and crafts. My group has worked on putting together a stroke support group book, which highlights each of their stories to help encourage one another. Another idea is to have Have materials available during every group for those who learn better or feel more comfortable when they can keep their hands busy. Mandalas are very popular to color during group meetings. All of these ideas provide ways to grow your group and can encourage your members to come back each session. But other ideas to consider when growing your group, especially if you are first starting out, include the following considerations. How will you market your group? Will your group be open to the public or reserved just for your previous patients? Create a flyer to hand out to patients at discharge or post group information on your hospital community board. Have information listed on your hospital website and register your support group with the ASA or National Stroke Association. If you notice your group's attendance is slowing or you haven't had a new member join in a while, don't be afraid to take a survey. Ask current and past members about their thoughts and ideas. Provide a suggestion box at each meeting and send out monthly updates and reminders. You may need to consider a different time or day that fits the needs of your member population. And it's always a good idea to provide snacks. Don't be afraid to mix it up and reach out to local support groups to brainstorm ideas that have worked for them. And finally, never underestimate the little things. It's the little things that can make the biggest difference. For example, providing name tags can ease the stress about remembering everyone's names, and group introductions help members feel more connected and assure them that they are not alone in their experiences. Icebreakers can help to set a tone, and affirmations help validate members' feelings, thoughts, and behaviors. Our group has a mobile library offering different books about stroke, stroke survivors, caregivers, and life after stroke, which is a great additional resource to our members. Celebrating members' birthdays each month is a big deal. Don't forget to do that. They will remind you. And never underestimate the power in a follow-up phone call or an email just to touch base with a member after they've maybe shared something during the meeting personal or meaningful about their life. So in preparing for this presentation, I asked my group that I run what having support group means to them, and I asked if I could share some of these responses with you. So I'm just going to read a few of them. It's a place where I don't have to worry about other people getting it. The group has really helped me through every challenge and encourages me to keep going. It allows me to connect with other caregivers and know what I'm feeling is okay. I was so angry for so long, and the group didn't judge me for that. They just let me work through it. No, they supported me through it. It's because of responses like these that I just simply love facilitating our stroke support group, and it's really why your program needs to have one. It may feel like it's a lot to get up and going, but I promise the reward is tenfold. So before I open it up for questions, and I realize I just went through this very quickly, I do have some poll questions to finish off, and then we can answer some questions. So the first poll question, after listening to this presentation, do you feel more confident or equipped to start a stroke support group at your facility? And after listening to this presentation, do you feel as though you've gained some new insight which you can apply to your current support group if your facility has one?
So we have 55 people saying yes, and then 3 saying no, and then the rest not answered.
Great. Well, I want to thank you again for listening in, and hopefully you will be able to take some of this back to your facility. But I'd love to be able to answer some questions about your current groups or ideas for future groups.
You can press *6 to mute your lines or type in the Q&A section of WebEx if you have any questions. Okay, Carly, our first question we have is, can you direct us to some literature that shows improved outcomes for people who attend support groups?
Yeah, there's actually a lot of evidence-based research out there. I can forward a list or a lit review if you would like that. I don't have any right off the top of my head here, but it does talk about individual patient recovery increasing or patients being able to continue their recovery longer when provided this kind of support. Also for caregivers, it's a huge thing to be able to support the caregivers who in turn support our survivors.
Awesome. Our second question, what ways were successful to promote attendance?
So for us, creating a flyer was huge, and starting a process where the floors would be handing out that flyer at discharge. When we're doing our follow-up 7-day satisfaction calls, it's another opportunity to remind them about support group and email them the flyer. We post the flyers around different community boards. I registered with different organizations here locally in Colorado that put out information about stroke support groups, but also the National Stroke Association, American Stroke Association. We have a stroke follow-up clinic, so that information is there as well. And interestingly enough, because we've opened ours to the greater public, I get a lot of survivors coming that either had their stroke years ago and just heard about the group, or who didn't have their stroke here at our facility but had heard about us in the community and reached out. So it's really important that you call these people back and make it easy for them to feel comfortable to come.
Any tips on getting speakers scheduled, and how far in advance do you schedule topics?
Yeah, so depending on how frequently your group meets, it's going to look different. For our group, we meet once a month. So twice a year, we sit down as co-facilitators and discuss different topics and ideas. I've really just found it best to reach out directly, whether you can call someone on a website or email them. It's really great. There's been several speakers who have come who generally would speak for other events and get paid for it. But when you're able to explain that this is a hospital-based support group and what it's benefiting, and that these patients are generally weeks to months out of having their stroke, people are really willing to come and present. I think the biggest thing is you're also going to get people calling you wanting to present, oftentimes for more of a marketing purpose. And so I recommend that you vet out all of your speakers and make sure that there's no biases coming in, and that the presentation is actually going to be worthwhile for your group.
How long did it take to get a following of your support group?
So when I came and joined the group, and it's been 2 years now, we had about 10 people consistently coming, and probably half of those people had been coming for years, which is really great. Not as common for group therapy, but for support groups, having people come year after year is a really good sign of your group's cohesiveness, but you want to be able to build your group. So I would say probably within the next 6 months, we actually were able to increase our group to anywhere from 20 to 30 people every month. We just continue to grow. And it's going to kind of fluctuate. In the summer, you may have a few less people. My group usually takes a summer break in July because that attendance was just so low that we weren't able to really accommodate it. And then we do that August barbecue kind of as a reunion and welcome back, and let's start the fall season off together. And it's been a really good way to boost attendance as we head into winter.
Do you find that it's hard to have young stroke survivors in a stroke group, or do you think they need their own group?
So I definitely think that there are some differences, and in my group we do have all different ages, but I've always offered resources to our younger stroke survivors to find young stroke specific groups, so those do exist. I think sometimes for young stroke survivors it's helpful to see older peers process and how they got through it, but it is a very different experience, and the way that you're going to facilitate that class or speak to that population could be really different. So Look for other chapters, other support groups in your area that offer that, or offer a second group yourself.
Do you have other stroke support groups in your area?
So we actually have quite a few, and members actually will attend several different groups because at the end of the day, it's really supportive for them, and they like to be in the presence of people who understand what they're going through. So yes, we absolutely do. Sometimes I will collaborate with some of these groups, ask what's worked for them, or if they've had a speaker, can they get me a contact? And I'm not afraid to send people who call me to groups that are closer. When you think about mobility and transportation, bottom line is it's most important that our patients get into these groups. So there is definitely plenty of room to share.
Do you have inpatient rehab patients attend?
Currently, our group does not, and I know that there are some local hospitals who have done that, and I think if you're able to work that out in a safe way, it can be a really awesome thing. I think it also might be really great to do smaller groups just with rehab patients in the rehab. So it's something to consider.
Well, great questions, guys. We would like to thank our speaker one last time for presenting over Caregiver Support Group. A couple reminders before signing off. Please note, you will only be able to claim your CE credits at the end of the 15-week series on September 27th, and a copy of today's slides and handouts will be sent to you within a week of today's call. Thanks again, and we will see you next week.
Thank you.
Thank you.